Hello guys, Greg back with another video. Sorry it's been such a long time. It's been a couple of months now since I've done anything at all. But a lot of you will know that I set up my own business last year, and basically I've just been running that, and it's taken up all of my time. I haven't had time for anything really. But thankfully I've got a team together now that's kind of taken the pressure off me a little bit. So I'll be back and doing much more regular content. It's something I really want to commit to this year. So do expect to have more regular videos from me now moving forward. So today I'm going to look at some of the jewels of my collection. Excuse me, not necessarily my favourite fragrances. They're just ones that for various different reasons I'm proudest or happiest to have in my collection. So going to be quite a quick video today. I'm not going to go into too much detail on each one. I'm just going to whiz through and say a few words about each one. Now samples and decants of all of these fragrances are available to purchase from my online store, and that's fragrancesamplesuk.com. If you're outside of the UK, you can still purchase, just not directly from the website at the moment. So you need to drop me an email at info@fragrancesamplesuk.com, and then we can sort something out. So let's dive into this list. First up, I've got a fragrance that's one of my two favourites from this house, and the house is Xerjoff, and this one's simply called Homme. And this is one of the best leather fragrances I've come across. It's a really luxurious leather scent. Lots of lavender, lots of spice. Very, very expensive, but a really beautiful fragrance, and one that I recommend you try if you can. Next up, we've got one that's from one of my favourite houses, a house that I talk about a lot on the channel. And this is really their flagship perfume. And this is from the house of Ormond Jane, and it's called Black Gold. And I thought I'd bring the presentation down as well to show you, because it's really nice. You can see this opens up and it's like a velvet bed where the bottle sits. You take the bottle out. Now they're all really high quality, thick glass bottles on these Ormond Jane fragrances. Thick metal cap as well. So there's the bottle, Black Gold. You've got the OJ there. And this is a really hard fragrance to describe. It's a woody ambery fragrance. There's floral, there's musk in there, there's some oud, and it's also got the very distinctive Ormond Jane pink pepper in there, which is present in a lot of their fragrances. But the word for this one is regal. It's a really regal smelling fragrance. So next we've got two fragrances that both of these would actually be my top 10 favourites of all time, and they're from the house of Roger Parfum, and we've got musk oud and we've got amber oud, which I've just noticed has actually got a lopsided plaque on the front, which isn't too good, but never mind. Yeah, as a lot of you know, I do love this house. These are very opulent, luxurious fragrances. Again, very expensive, but ones that I think everyone should at least have a chance to try. So that is musk oud and amber oud from Roger Parfum. Next we've got one from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I actually have finished this bottle today. I just sprayed this on earlier, so I need to get a new bottle of this. But this is from the range of Oud Mood fragrances from the house, and this one is Silk Oud Mood. It's actually my favourite from the range. They're all really good, but I just prefer this one. And it's essentially a rose oud fragrance, but it stands out from a lot of those other rose oud fragrances. There's so many around at the moment, but there's something about this one that's just a bit distinctive and a bit better for me. So I'm really, really happy to have that one in my collection. So next we've got a couple of older formulations of two of my favourite fragrances. These could even be number 1 and 2 out of everything that I've ever tried. And they're not the most expensive, and they are pretty well known. So we've got Dior Homme Intense, the vintage version with the silver collar. I do tell a difference between vintage and current, and I prefer the vintage. And my old darling Fahrenheit. Again, this is a 2004 bottle I've got here. My opinion on Fahrenheit is that anything 2012 and before is fantastic. Anything after gradually has been diluted down at least once since then to a fragrance now that's more about vanilla than that violety petrol that we love from Fahrenheit. But probably my two favourite fragrances of all time, Dior Homme Intense and Dior Fahrenheit. And next we've got one that's probably the most talked about fragrance in the community. It's Creed Aventus. And this is my 12C01 batch. As with tradition with Creed, the label's all peeled off. I don't know, you probably can't see the batch number, but I've tried, obviously I decant a lot of these, and I have done for years, litres and litres and litres, and I've tried so many batches, and this is the best that I've come across. You know, I've had this nearly 5 years. I'm trying to use it sparingly, although getting through the bottle, but people debate the batch variations a lot. I'll tell you now, as someone that's very, very familiar with Ventus, there are big variations, but this one's my favourite. I don't want to get into that discussion too much because we've all been there many times before. Next we've got another one from the House of Serjov. Now this one's a Russian exclusive, and this is a stunning fragrance, and it's called Pikavaya Dama, which I believe means Queen of Spades in Russian. It's a really powdery, musky fragrance, very unique, very hard to come across, but we've got plenty of this available at Fragrance Samples UK if anyone does want to try that. So another one, another very powdery fragrance, a discontinued gem. This is Dolce & Gabbana D&G by Man. Very hard to find, very expensive, but it is a very, very good powdery sandalwood based fragrance. Some lavender in there, some can't speak today, some amber and lots of spices. But it's very hyped up because it's discontinued, but I think it's worth the hype. I think it's a great fragrance, and it's a shame it's not around anymore. So now I've got another 3 fragrances from Ormond Jane. Now these are very high concentration perfumes. So we've got 2 made to measure fragrances. Now on Ormond Jane website, or if you go into store, you can select your concentration for a different price. And so I've got Isfakand and Ormond Man. As you can see, these come in these kind of old-fashioned perfume bottles. They're not sprayers, and hard to tell, but they're very viscous, very concentrated liquid in there, and they're just beautiful. Isfakand and Ormond Man, 2 of my favourite fragrances, but now I've got these really concentrated versions which last longer, a lot deeper, and they're just beautiful. And the third one is Nawab of Oud. Got it the wrong way around. Intensivo. So Nawab of Oud is also one of my favourite fragrances, and then this one became available, which is an Intensivo. I think this is probably 40 or 50%. I'm not sure. I certainly know that the other 2 are 50% because that's what I purchased. But this one, again, very high concentration and a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. And that leaves us with one more, again, another one from one of my favourite houses, Roger Parfum. And this one is Enigma, the Parfum version, Pour Homme. A very rich, opulent tobacco fragrance. People say it smells a little bit like cola, and I can agree with that. I definitely do get that from it. It's different to everything else that I own in my collection, just one that I'm really proud and happy to have. That is Enigma Parfum. So there you go, guys. That's kind of the jewels of my collection, or certainly some of them. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give a thumbs up if you did. Leave a comment, tell us some of the jewels of your collection. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do. Remember, as I said at the beginning of the video, samples and decants of all of these fragrances are available from my online store, which is fragrancesamplesuk.com. If you're outside of the UK, email us at info@fragrancesamplesuk.com. I'm working on a lot of videos. One that got suggested to me yesterday, actually, on a Facebook group. I was talking about that I'd cleared down a list of fragrances that I couldn't live without, and coincidentally it was a round number. It was 40. There were 40 fragrances that I could not live without if I had to get, condense my collection, and someone suggested I did a video on that. So that's one that I will be working on. That will be coming up soon, along with lots of others. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you all soon. Cheers.